Hi, in this video, I'm going to do a walkthrough of what I do every single time I investigate a slow running query. Um, it's not aimed at a database expert level, it's aimed at an accidental DBA. So, a developer or somebody in the IT department who's got a basic understanding of SQL and they've been given this task to see why is his query running slow. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks that I use and hopefully it'll get you started. And if you need any more help, then please feel free to reach out and I'll see how I can help you. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to run this query that I've doctored up for the sake of the demonstration, and we'll see what happens when it comes back. All right, should be finishing. There we go. 68 rows in 9 seconds. So by any metric, not a great result. So what we need to see is why is it taking 60? Why is 68 rows taking 9 seconds? All right. So when you look at that, you can't really see why. So to begin with, what I do is turn on statistics IO. So we're going to get into the SSMS and set statistics IO on and run that. Okay. There's also set statistics time on, but for the sake of this demonstration, we'll just leave it at IO on. Okay. I find this one IO to be a bit more useful. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is turn on an actual execution plan. Okay. So we're going to include that with our query. So now we're going to come here and run it again and wait our 10 to 12 seconds. It takes a few seconds longer to run it with the execution plan being kept. So just got to kind of keep that in mind. Okay. And there we go, 68 rows in 10 seconds. Now, what we're going to do is take a snapshot of where we are now so that when we apply some changes, we can see whether they're working or not. Okay. Now, a couple of points first. Try and do this in a UAT environment. Okay, if you do it in a dev environment, you're going to find maybe the database is very different to the production because developers have been working on it and so forth. The size of the database might be very different. And also, you don't want to do this in production because you're going to be changing things and altering and fiddling with indexes can cause massive issues for users trying to update data. Okay, so try and do it in a system that's not production and as close to production as possible. Okay. So with that being said, now that we've run it with the statistics IO on and the execution plan being included, let's take our beginning snapshot. So I'm going to come here to the messages tab. You can see now we've got all this information that came from the statistics IO on. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it into an application called WinMerge. Now, WinMerge is a free download. You don't have to use WinMerge. There's lots of online text comparers. I've just been using this one for years. I'm just used to it. Okay. So, but anyway, I'm going to paste that in there. Now, let's look at the execution plan. The SSMS execution plan has looked like this for years. Microsoft has ever made any changes to it. Certainly not while I've been using the product. Okay. So what I prefer is one called SQL Sentry Plan Explorer. Okay, it comes with an add-on, so I can just right-click the plan here, view with SQL Sentry Plan Explorer, and it opens up in the application. There's a free plan, there's a free version and paid versions. The one I'm demonstrating here is the free version. Okay, so I close those history tabs off, and so I can see more, and then also I just drag this bottom section up. You can make it easier to see. So when we look at the Microsoft default one, it's kind of hard to read. It doesn't really zoom and scale very well. However, with the SQL Sentry Plan Explorer, it does kind of scale. You can see most of the execution plan. Plus, you notice straight away what needs fixing because it highlights it for you in red. Okay, it's not the only thing that needs fixing. I mean, this query is pretty bad, but like I said, I doctored it for the sake of the demonstration. But this Query Plan Explorer, you can see nice, big, thick lines. And yeah, the red just gives you a highlight to go straight away. Okay, this is a problem. All right. Now, the one thing I actually prefer in the SSMS version is the highlight of the missing index. Now, in terms of this suggestion, okay, if you Google Brent Ozark query tuning or query optimization and Clippy, the word Clippy, you'll probably get some cool videos, some funny videos. Actually, Brent's quite funny when he does his videos about why you shouldn't just take what this says and just implement it blindly. Okay. Now that being said, I say for this is a beginner's kind of introduction to query tuning. So we're just going to take what it says today, but yeah, just kind of keep in mind that if you want to go further down the path of query tuning, don't just blindly take what this says all the time. Now, For example of that, what we're going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to go missing index details to see what it's suggesting we do. I'll have to take that out of the green and put it there in the color. Okay, it's saying create this clustered index on this table with these fields. Now, why you shouldn't just do this automatically is because every index has its own overhead. Okay, if I create this index and every update, read, write, delete, etc., will need, so not read, but the updates, the deletes, the inserts will be altering this index as well. So you have to keep that in mind. So what we're going to do is before we go and blindly create this index, I'm going to use this script here, which I got from this website here, SQLauthority.com. Peanut Dave has hundreds of these awesome scripts. Okay, so I highly recommend going to his website, getting these kind of scripts and storing them in a folder because you do use them often. When I pass in this particular table, it gives me a list of all the indexes on this table that are currently there. All right, so we can compare and say, does the index that the optimizer is suggesting, does that already exist, or is there a similar one, or should we actually create it? So for the sake of this demo, of course, I am going to create it. I'm going to come here, call NC Demo 1, and run that. So now we have to figure out what we just did, creating this index, does that make it any better or not? So we're going to come back to our query, and we're going to run it. Now, you can't just say, well, it took 10 seconds last time and it goes to 9 seconds, therefore it's better, because we don't know what loads are on the system. For example, if you're running it at peak time, that's going to affect how much CPU and resources this particular query can get, as opposed to running at 3 in the morning when there's probably a lot less people on the system. Okay, so that's why we want to actually use the numbers from the statistics, not just how long it takes to run. So let's come back here. You can see though it did actually run in 5 seconds, so that is quicker, which is good. I'm going to come here, and again, we're going to take our Messages tab and chuck that into WinMerge, and this time put it on the right-hand pane. And we're going to come back, get our execution plan, go show execution plan as XML this time because we've already got SQL Central Plan Explorer open. And we're going to come here, put that into a new tab, and paste that there. Okay. Just one thing too, I forgot to mention earlier, the missing indexes, which was so easy to see in the SSMS, it is actually available to see here. You just got to go up and say column chooser and say missing indexes, missing index, impact, etc. You can add in extra fields. Okay. But I don't normally do that because I can see it in the SSMS. So anyway, let's have a look here while we're here at the execution plan. So in the old one, the original one, we had these two big red index scans for roughly 30% each. And let's see what happened. We'll come here, go to the second query, and look straight away at the same section down here. You can see that index scan has now become an index seek on our new index, the NC Demo 1. Okay, so that looks good. That's actually using our new index. That's a positive. Let's go back now and look at WinMerge. When I press F5 on the application, it highlights the differences for us. And we can see that the table that we created the new index on, the TBL contact detail, has gone with logical reads from 161,322 to 17,871. Okay, so that's a pretty big jump from 161,000 down to 18,000 logical reads. That's a definite win there. Okay, so the last thing I guess I'll show you too is that other script that we had a look at before that shows you all the different indexes on that table. When we now run that, we can see our NC Demo 1 was used for a seek twice. So it's actually been used. If that still had zeros on this row here, then we know the index wasn't used and we could blow it away and do something else. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. That's the basics of how I do a query optimization. I would do what I just did then and then keep looking at the execution plan and just rinse, repeat, look at the next bottleneck, look at the next issue, and essentially go to my boss and say, how much time do you want me to spend on this? Because what we just did there got it from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. That might be enough. He might say, no, 5 seconds is still too slow. Got to get down to 2 seconds. And say, well, okay, that'll just take some more time. It's got to keep going and going and going and just digging into it bit by bit by bit. But essentially, guys, that's it. I hope you learned something. And yeah, if you've got any questions, please sing out. Otherwise, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.